Welcome to Spiritual Street Fighter, a fighting game podcast about how gaming affects your life and life affects your gaming. This is episode 1. We are all losers. My name is Alan Childs, also known as Poe22222. I played Akuma in Street Fighter 4 and currently play Akuma and Ken in Third Strike and Ken in Street Fighter 6. In competition, the goal is to win. We strive for it. We hunger for it. Whether we dominate our opponent with a series of pixel-perfect pokes and mind-melting mix-ups, or we squeak out a round 3 comeback with a mashed jab, that rush of victory is what we all want every time our favorite game tells us to fight. The fighting game community, just like other competitive endeavors, has its legacy of epic champions who've achieved that goal of victory time and time again, often when it mattered most. But what did Daigo Umehara, Justin Wong, Kuroda, and even Tom Brady and Michael Jordan have in common? They have all lost, and they've lost a lot, sometimes on the biggest of stages, and even in brutal fashion. For the serious and hyper-competitive player, it's easy to fall into the trap of believing that the end goal is to reach a level of play where you always win, and that anything short of that means you're failing. I mean, winning is the goal, right? I fight to win every time I press buttons, and I recommend serious players do the same. But we must reckon with a paradox. Winning all the time is literally impossible in fighting games, and that makes the goal of winning, in the long run, unreachable. Let's take a closer look, though, at some of the names I mentioned earlier. Daigo Umehara is most famous for his countless national and major tournament championships and his fabled Third Strike comeback against Justin Wong. But don't forget EVO 2011, when Umehara, the heavy favorite with his seemingly unbeatable SF4 Arcade Edition Yoon, was demolished by Poonko Seth in 4 straight rounds, including a decisive perfect. Tom Brady is a legend for his sparkling championship record, but think about how full his trophy case would be if he hadn't lost 3 Super Bowls, including in 2008, when his Patriots fell heartbreakingly short of the first undefeated NFL season in now almost half a century. Don't you know that haunts him? Some say Kuroda is better at his favored game, Third Strike, than anyone else has ever been at any other Street Fighter. But have you seen the footage of him being nearly double perfected by KO in the semifinals of SBO 2005, arguably the most prestigious fighting game tournament series ever held? Even Michael Jordan, who is worshipped as a god for his perfect 6-0 record in the NBA Finals, has a history of losing. Sure, he went 6 for 6 in the championship round, but in the first 6 years of his career, he didn't even make the finals because he was repeatedly crushed by Isaiah Thomas and the Detroit Pistons. In 1967, Bob Gibson pitched a complete game victory in Game 7 of the World Series. He was the World Series MVP. His next season was nothing short of the greatest single season in baseball pitching history, featuring many records that still stand to this day. He once again found himself in Game 7 of the World Series. This time, to cap the most dominant season an MLB pitcher has ever had, Gibson allowed 3 hits in a row in the 7th inning, and his Detroit Tigers lost. You win some, you lose some. True competitors never fully accept losing with a capital A, but there's a difference between accepting losing and understanding on some level that no matter how good you get, losing is an inevitable part of competition. After a frustrating fighting game day with more tallies in the L column than not, it's tempting to imagine top players or your friends cruising along with their endless strings of victories, the dopamine of domination surging through their brains, and feel like a complete loser in comparison. But the truth is, if those pro players are facing people of similar skill, that uninterrupted dopamine train of victory is not what they're experiencing. They're pushing themselves to the limit, and that means frequent defeats. We make ourselves vulnerable to the pain of losing whenever we play. In every single game, every set, every round, there's a winner and a loser. In every double elimination tournament, only one person wins, and even the winner has often lost numerous games and possibly even a whole set. Crucially, a full 25% of all entrants go 0-2. But someone has to lose, And the truth is, by making yourself vulnerable to losing, you're doing the community a great service, not as a sacrificial lamb, but as a valiant warrior wading into the danger of competition. We all lose. Some lose less than others, but we all lose. If everyone refused to lose, there would be no tournaments, no ranked battles, no streamed first to tens, nor even casuals, because there would be no one to play. I won't go so far as to say that there's beauty in losing, but there's certainly beauty and courage in the vulnerability of competition, the risk we all take of falling short every time we play. Recently, I watched the conclusion of the Gamers 8 $1 million tournament in Saudi Arabia. The grand finals featured Angry Bird, only a week removed from winning the titanic 7,000-entrant Street Fighter 6 tournament of Evolution 2023, one of the largest open tournaments not just in esports history, but in any competitive endeavor in the history of the world. His grand finals opponent in Gamers 8 was Kakeru, whom he had defeated in top 8 at EVO and summarily demolished in the winners' final of that very same Saudi contest just a few minutes before. The grand final saw another result, though. Kakeru obliterated Angry Bird and walked away with the $400,000. Just a week after Angry Bird cried tears of humble joy on the EVO main stage, his countless hours of hard work securing one of the greatest tournament victories in video game history, Angry Bird lost. And badly. In a prior post-match interview, Angry Bird said that he did not fear losing because he knows that there will always be another tournament. You just move on to the next tournament, he said. Bravo. Harsh as it may sound, Angry Bird is a loser, but he's also a champion. We might not all be EVO champions, but we are all losers, even the champions. So next time you're frustrated by losing, just remember that you're in great company. And keep going. Keep making yourself vulnerable to defeat while striving for that victory. Keep putting your fists and your heart on the line. Just keep playing. And if you keep playing, loser though you may be, you will soon find yourself also a winner. Thank you for listening to the first episode of Spiritual Street Fighter. See you next time.